All right, everyone, David Schuster here, and we've got some serious dirt on Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's right, the Georgia Congresswoman is now being called out for some seriously shady insider trading. The headlines are screaming about it. Marjorie Taylor Greene's suspicious stock trade soars 29% despite tariffs and representative. Marjorie Taylor Greene's 17 stock buys in the market crash turned to profits after Trump's tariff pause. We'll get into the specifics of Greene's trading in a sec, but first, it's worth noting she was acting extra hostile during a congressional hearing the other day. Maybe it's because she knows the heat is on.
The American people.
The gentlelady's time has expired. Miss Stansberry, the gentlelady's time has expired. No, you're lying to the American people.
And get this, even before that hearing, Greene was already losing it. From her usual spot, she straight up threw a tantrum and interrupted Democrat Robert Garcia while he was calling out Robert Kennedy Jr. She just couldn't keep her cool.
He caused a measles outbreak in another country that caused the death. Absolutely. That caused,
no, he did not.
He absolutely did.
That's a lie. RFK did not cause a measles outbreak.
Miss Greene,
you sound ignorant.
You are an
that's
anti-vax.
Ignorant,
you are,
and
you're
that's
an
a lie.
anti-vax conspiracy
no,
theorist
I'm for
yourself.
choice. I'm
you're
for
the
parents
number one
and people choosing.
Yeah, you know Greene's always throwing a fit, right? But this time, she's acting even more on edge than usual. And it's happening while she's getting grilled about these seriously suspicious stock trades that lined up way too perfectly with Trump's tariff announcements and then his sudden flip-flop.
You know, given what the government's been doing and this administration's been doing, it would not shock me, and I hate to speculate, if we were to find out that a whole bunch of people who work in Washington as our elected leaders, one way or the other, ultimately sold stocks last week, or potentially worse than that, shorted the market.
All right, so this analyst, Unusual Whales, basically called out Greene's shady moves on social media. They pointed out that just yesterday, Greene was calling everyone who was worried about the tariffs losers and failures. Then, boom! Today, she discloses she bought a ton of stocks, like a dozen or more, spending hundreds of thousands, all when the market was tanking. Talk about convenient timing. According to public filings, as the International Business Times reported, Greene invested in 17 U.S. stocks between April 3rd and 4th, right when the market was crashing because of Trump's tariff stunt. She bought into tech, semiconductors, logistics, home furnishings, apparel, banking, construction, and utilities, mostly between $1,000 and $15,000 per stock. And get this, all those stocks she bought when the market was at its lowest, they all bounced back yesterday, with some jumping as high as 28% in a single day. That's a huge profit in a super short time. Greene's estimated net worth is around $22 million, and while she's got a lot of investments, she's not exactly known for picking winning stocks. As Finbold pointed out, she's not the kind of person you'd expect to be making big bucks in a tough market. So, the big question is, did Greene get a heads up from the Trump White House about the tariffs and then the sudden reversal? Here's what Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has to say.
I've heard murmurings on the floor that there may have been people that knew that this was coming. And I'm very interested in seeing some of the stock disclosures that come out when those reports are due. And I'm very interested in what members of Congress have been buying and trading stocks in the last 24 hours prior to this tariff announcement.
AOC's not just pointing fingers at Greene. She's also raising some serious questions about Trump himself. Just a few hours before Trump announced he was backing down on most of those tariffs, which sent stocks soaring, he posted on social media that it was a great time to buy. So, anyone in Trump's inner circle who took his advice made a killing.
I don't think that it was a coincidence. I don't think that Trump just coincidentally said buy stocks and then shortly later made an announcement that dramatically inflated and dramatically raised a lot of these asset prices.
On CNN, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders straight up said, "This whole situation with Trump, his staff, and those lawmakers in Congress looks horrific." He's not mincing words.
I know for a fact. But would I be surprised if there were people who hours before knew exactly what Trump was going to do in rescinding his tariff proposals, understanding that the stock market would soar and you make huge amounts of money? Would I be shocked if we learned about that in the days to come? No, I would not.
Does that announcement that he gave cover to anybody who did buy stocks?
Well, what it does do, look, if you know 2 hours earlier that the stock market's going to go, what are you going to do? You're going to buy a hell of a lot of stock. You can invest in the stock market.
And Trump? Back at the White House, he was laughing and bragging about his billionaire buddies who made a fortune the minute he eased those tariffs. He's practically admitting they got insider info.
Charles Schwab. It's not just a company, it's actually an individual. And he made $2.5 billion today, and he made $900 million. That's not bad, because, he's in financials. I've always been.
All right, so one of Trump's biggest critics, former House member and current U.S. Senator Adam Schiff, is now demanding an immediate investigation into this whole insider trading mess. He's not messing around.
In any administration this corrupt, it is more than necessary to ask, were people personally profiting from insider information while people's savings, their retirement accounts, were being torched? So we're writing to the White House to demand answers. Now, I am fully cognizant of the fact that the White House is probably the last place to be forthcoming about this or any other corruption in the administration. We in Congress need to do more than demand answers. We need to do the oversight necessary to get those answers. To date, Republicans have not been willing to do this. Not when it comes to insider trading, potentiality, not when it comes to anything.
And get this, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's been blocking all those Democratic bills in Congress, is now getting dragged into this whole insider trading mess. Because, she made a killing off Trump's tariffs and then his sudden flip-flop. Now, everyone's calling for her to be investigated too. And let's be real, she's already one of the most hated lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. Now, even her Republican critics are calling her sleazy and corrupt. And to top it all off, Trump's mouthpiece, Caroline Leavitt, is getting fact-checked by Fox News of all places. They're calling her out for trying to spin Trump's tariff moves as some kind of genius strategy and saying the media is just too dumb to get it.
Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here.
But here's the kicker. Even Fox News, Trump's usual cheerleaders, are calling him out. They're saying he's straight up backing down and folding. Here's what Fox business correspondent Charles Gasparino had to say.
I want to tell you right now that Donald Trump outsmarted the world. Trust me, I'm an American, I support my president, but that's not really what happened here from what I understand. What happened in the bond market overnight, the spike in yields on the 30-year and the 10-year bond, which showed that people were dumping our bonds. And who were those people dumping our bonds? Japan, the biggest holder of bonds, was selling bonds. That's what I'm getting from some very big money managers. China, maybe to some extent, but it was largely Japan and others. If you have a mass sale of bonds, that means people are losing confidence in the U.S. economy, on the ability to do deals with us. And from what I understand, this is what forced the hand of this 90-day reprieve.
All right, you got to see this video. It's linked below. And the YouTube comments, they're on fire. One of the top ones is from Mary Bird, who wrote, "No one believes Caroline anymore. Why does anyone even bother with those press conferences? She's just spewing bull." And you know what? I hear you. I'm looking forward to reading your thoughts on Marjorie Taylor Greene feeling the heat as these insider trading accusations keep piling up. Thanks for tuning in.